Oh, hey Jamie, how's it going?
You were all excited about the count. You were all excited about the countdown, and then it froze your brain for just a
Well,
second, which is
they,
which
they
is totally
threw
fine.
they threw me a pop up. Oh, let's see. Let me see if I can we play a little. Do they have? Woo! Sorry that was loud. Can you hear the background, the music?
No, no, I can't.
Oh, you don't get it? Well, I get it.
No,
But if I do
that's
this,
that's okay. I mean, I don't know who else is getting it, but
can
I'm
you hear
not.
it too? You can't hear it now.
Oh, now I can hear it.
See. Oh, it's a very short clip.
Well,
Oh, that was
yeah, that
fun.
was.
It's a little rust. I need to apologize to you and maybe to some listeners, watchers, for I will call the summer hiatus, the late summer hiatus that I've had. I've I don't have a great excuse. I guess it's maybe a bit of the overwhelm. So for those that are listening, I apologize. Well, Jamie and I are
For those that are
getting
listening,
on
it's
track.
2026. It's 2026, and we're getting back to episode 186.
2026. What are you saying? What are you trying to say? That when this thing actually gets edited, it will be January?
This, yeah, yeah. I'm just, I'm
Okay, for those that are
needling,
watching, I'm going to
just
start
needling,
crying.
just.
I guess that's a needle. Well, no, but my new tool, Riverside, which creates some interesting sound effects. Still working on the new setup here, but should make editing easier. Although learning curves, Jamie. I'm
Learning curves.
about
I'm going to do
I
the learning curve with you.
I'm always up to create more learning curves. Like a perpetual
I'm
cycle
I'm
of
gonna I'm
learning
gonna
curve.
jump on
You know how like the graphs of
I'm gonna
they,
jump on the learning curve.
sometimes it's like a big steep and then it goes down. But then what if you just keep hopping on more learning curves? So it's like an escalator. Like if you watch you follow what I'm saying?
What if the learning curve became a Venn diagram?
So then it would have to turn in on itself. More like this.
Oh, you do that, and then I think Carlos Scarpa, Brion Cemetery, because
Oh,
that's like
yeah, that's a Venn.
perfection
That's a nice
of the.
sharp Venn. So I know. So we're gonna do a short one, right, Jamie? Because I know you have some serious soccer to watch, right? So we're gonna try and capture a fun
Well,
little
it's going to be a shorter
chat.
episode. Yeah,
I mean,
it's
it's
not
not. I'm
necessarily,
not trying to blame it on you. It's probably my fault that we did
yeah.
get a little late start. So then we were compressed. So enough lollygagging for me. That's all.
Enough lollygagging. Just tell me what's in the cup.
I have right. Um, I have my mugs. Nice one, Jamie. The well, would it be faux pas? It's not gas station coffee, but it is Folgers. Would you frown upon a guy if Folgers was in the brewing pot? But that's
No,
what it is. Oh, okay. Thanks.
no, it's okay.
No judgment.
Remember, this is not necessarily a coffee judgment zone, folks. It's just that the I think some of it is the gas station coffee experience you describe that has me worried, like as a friend. That's maybe more of the worry. I also don't want you drinking things that are maybe bad for your health. So
I did stop by. So the AI Michigan Design Retreat was last weekend in 2025, and so I stopped. I had to charge my car because it's about 3 hours away, so I had to charge my car. And the town I stopped in was called Grayling, Michigan. And when I plugged in, I walked around the corner to a diner, an old greasy spoon, and had a breakfast with, diner mug full of coffee. So that was good, but it's not what I have at home, which, like I said, is Folgers at the moment. So there you go. What about you?
It's in that case, it's the ambiance, right?
It was.
I mean, it sort of adds to the whole thing.
Well, they had a tagline
we're
too.
gonna actually see
The restaurant had a tagline, and the tagline was "Home of the Lumberjack," which was their signature breakfast.
Oh,
so, I mean, Michigan.
I thought it was like their mascot.
Well, no, the T-shirt they had that said that was just like an axe in a hunk of wood. So there was no person. It was like the lumberjack had left to go eat breakfast. So
it seems very aggressive, but that's okay. I'm gonna let it slide
for now. Yeah. So what about you? How's the?
Yeah. Well, I have two coffee stories very, very quickly. So I, similar to yourself with the Folgers, I've gone to the quick and easy house specialty. It's the community coffee, which I often will also have an extra bag of, sort of because it's pre-ground, it's stable. But I went with the breakfast blend. I'm not sure I should do that again. It's not as sort of rich enough taste for me, so I end up drinking entirely too much and consume it quite quickly. So, but coffee story though, if you've been in a Starbucks recently,
how recent are we need to be?
And this is like in the last week, at least for the one that's nearest to me. So,
okay.
So they got a new piece of equipment at my local Starbucks. And so now they're not brewing the coffee the way they used to. They've got a machine that grinds, preps, and brews like effectively on demand.
Oh, I think my local one has that too.
It's okay. So all I'll say is like quality has jumped up.
Oh,
like it's very smooth. Like now I feel like I can switch between the blends that are there and kind of have a little bit more of a selection. And yeah, I'm like pleasant surprise, like gift to me in the morning, because it's usually my morning routine to because I'm going to work or traveling or whatever. And so yeah, surprise.
Well, I didn't check. Well, that's cool. I didn't check for the quality. I noticed that my local Starbucks has the same tool where it has the tub of beans on the top, and then you push they push the buttons and it grinds and fills the cup, right?
Yeah.
Not yeah. So,
but it's like it's smoother. Like they even they were like, because it's my local one, so they know me, and so they were like, "Tell me what you think." Like, we think it's like it's got sort of a almost like it's hotter, right? So it's coming off like piping hot, but it almost has like a thin film at the top where it's just sort of like it's like super just it's smooth. I
find like the oil from the
like
beans?
You go with a darker. Yeah, you're getting the oil, like just the viscosity kind of sort of sits on the top a little bit.
Yeah, I like that.
So even with the
I like
darkest
those.
blend, like the richest blend, you don't like that? Oh, you do
No, I
like
do.
that.
I
Okay.
do. I'm on board for that sort of stuff. Yeah, yeah. I like when that I think I can
Okay. Yeah.
sometimes
Yeah.
get that to happen with our friends at Rootless. You know, their stuff is really fresh. And in a French press, it's a lot easier to achieve. But yeah, sounds exciting. I guess what I'm going to do next time I visit is do a little more of a scrutinizing taste test of how our local machine works. So
Yeah.
fascinating,
Chat up
Jamie.
your barista. I mean, it's okay. They were, yeah.
I don't really frequent it enough to think I can chat them up, but perhaps I'll try. So
Just tell them you have a podcast. Just tell me you have a podcast. I have not told them I have a podcast, but you can tell them in Flint, Michigan, that you have a
oh.
podcast.
So there was one other thing I was going to say about all that, and now I cannot remember. Oh yes, the school. I'm trying to say this gently, but our architecture college at Lawrence Tech has been uh, tempting us with one of these machines of our very own for like 3 or 4 years now. And so, if any of the students are listening, they're gonna know because we were having a little laugh about it the other day because the back to school, and then the dean like sort of said, "Oh yeah, you know, we're trying to get the machine going," and everyone's like, "Yeah, we'll see, we'll believe it when we see it," kind of attitude. So even some of the students. So
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I thought you were going to say that you had school news, and you were like, Jamie, we'd like to invite you to come and like speak and maybe do a design like jury, and I'd be like, I can probably make that happen.
I would think there's going to be there's a good handful of students that would like that too. So we will
Before it gets too cold.
create run
Like
up.
I'm Canadian, but I don't want it cold. I don't want cold. Like I do have cold clothes, but like
Well,
putting that out
December,
there.
yeah, December what 12th depends. It's like a La Nina year, so we'll see. But um,
Well, I mean, just get me on the calendar, buddy. So
do you want to go intro into the show, or do you want to just keep this as the show?
I think we're in the show. I think
We're
this is just all the show because
we're in it now.
like I listened to 185. It was like we
that
did
was
like Green Room and the show all in the same episode. So
yeah. Well, you know the live stream and Riverside sort of made made for that to be a reality. So all right, we'll keep it this way and see what happens.
but it was
right?
still it was gold. It was all gold. It's
good.
just the it's the clippity clip. It's the clippity clip that I'm still wanting to like fiddle with.
And I'm still learning. That's the learning curve. Remember we're going up,
right,
and then we're getting into the Venn, right?
Well, and the Venn
is like an infinity.
The Venn too is that well, not infinity, because then you gotta lock them, right? Like Scarpa, you lock them. And what I think would be fun is we've talked about getting to 200 so that when we like lock the Venn diagram, like this is the episode, and then these might be two different podcasts. No reveals, because we got to get the momentum going again.
And then you put a 2 in front of that, and you get 200. Right?
Yes. Oh, good. I like it. Yeah. That's.
We need an extra hand.
It's almost like another like there's like a logo coming out of this somehow. Yeah.
my potentially AI generated logo. Man, I could see from your face where that was. Okay. So some sketches here that so even though we have a truncated episode, Jamie wanted to pull in 3 sketches of all related content, which is totally fine by me. How would you like to best introduce these to those that are listening?
Well, I think, I'll preface, and then I think we'll go to kind of our normal format. I'll just preface that I appreciate Kurt's patience with these subject sketches, because some of these are a little bit old now, not very old, and I'll explain in a sec. But he knew that this was important. These were important sketches to me, and I didn't know if they would ever make the podcast, frankly. But I appreciate his care and friendship in realizing how special these were for me to try and generate, and why, I was a little reluctant to talk about them to begin with. But yeah, I think that I'll say that to begin with, and then we can kind of go into the sketches. But thank you for kind of encouraging me to do this. Kind of at a point when I would be ready, and certainly feel a little bit more ready today. And we've still got, folks, there's still about 15 minutes left in the podcast, so we're doing great.
Well, yeah, and I hope that it could be a bit of a catharsis, right? Through the act of the sketch, and then through act of maybe talking a little bit about them. But I mean, do we want to go left to right in that sequence, or like middle?
Well, sure. I think maybe impressions for kind of overall of sort of the drawings themselves is always a good way to start, and then that usually kind of unlocks something like an interesting Kurt observation, and I think then we can maybe kind of go from there, because they do. There's parts of them that build on one another for sure, and I can elaborate.
Oh, okay. Well, I was drawn. Looking in the middle, right, which is I was drawn to the diagram. Well, the elevation below, which is the Alexandria Library project, right? Which I kind of, it's one of those projects that I followed. It was a design competition. It's big international design competition. Many firms, like all over the world, like applied, submitted. And then I've seen over the years, right, over the 20 plus years, I've seen lectures from firms, and their version of this building, whether they won or not, like has sort of this seminal point. It's very interesting how this project has, which is a very significant subject matter, right? The library, the Alexandria Library, right, which is trying to capture like the origins of like recorded history and developments and settlement and all this. And so anyway, so with a very significant program, which then enticed a lot of firms, small and big, to submit for it. And the winning scheme, right, which is the one that is sketched here, which is Snøhetta Architects. It took, I mean, this is one of those projects that took like decades to actually come to fruition, right? Over the course. So it creates this, it's sort of like its own hype beast, right? Its own hype buildup to get to the point. But this sketch is cool because it has a sketch of the elevation, a diagram of some of the concept, and then a sort of perspectival scene within, right, with like the curving wall, I think, to the left, right, and then there's a sort of grouping of people, which I guess uh, there's not a lot of sketches that are at this scale. I think that we've talked at least recently, right? Like to the right and left, you kind of have two portraits scales, which we do see a little more often, and then buildings as a whole, like again, kind of the two with the two alongside those two portraits. So it's kind of interesting composition of all three. We kind of accidentally landed on, right? It's like the center is the library, and then to the right and the left are portraits and building facades that have this. So there's this interesting happy accident, right? Our old friend Bob Ross. But then, I mean, I know to the left, right, is the main.
It's great. It's sort of.
Oh, sorry, probably a little lag, but you want me to finish that?
Yeah, finish that. Yeah, go ahead.
So I just going to say, I know to the left is sort of a segue to maybe hand it back to you is your dear friend Sonny, who I had a chance to meet a number of years ago when we were at an AIA conference, and the same happened to be in the same city, right? And then the two paired with his portrait is the Yale Club building, which he was a part of. I think he's president, right? And of the club, right? So it's sort of a significant feat and recognition. And then off to the right, which you had to remind me is a portrait of Dante's sort of death mask, and then I assume like a mausoleum of, I don't really know that building, but I assume maybe the mausoleum.
Yeah, I think you've sort of captured sort of where we might be in this episode for folks who are kind of realizing from the preface kind of maybe where why it took a little while to get here, but what Kurt's described for all of them is very, very accurate. I love the fact that you went to the middle sketch, the one that sort of these were sequence, and so the Dante and mausoleum sketch were first, and then moving into the one that Kurt described in much more detail, the Snøhetta and the Alexandria Library, which I have an interesting little factoid on for you in a second. And then last but not least was sort of the Yale Club too, with a portrait of my dear friend, and yeah, his birthday was yesterday. Mm-hmm. So, but I think that he was an incredible individual. All of our friends sort of thought of him as sort of our philosopher poet. He was an incredible connector of people, and survived by his wife Jason and daughter Alexi, and lots of friends and lots of family that really, really miss him. But yeah, he was the Yale Club president, like right now. I mean, he started in 2024 and they do sort of a 2-year stint. And so even we went to New York, and they had a memorial service for him. He died unexpectedly, natural causes. And so, but yeah, when they had the service at the Yale Club, and for those who don't know the Yale Club, it's a really, really unique building in the heart of Manhattan, and it's effectively one of the early skyscrapers, and designed by James Gamble Rogers. So we're talking the 19-teens. I think it was built in 1911, but it's the largest physical building of an alumni association in the world. And so it actually coincidentally also houses several other kind of Ivy League schools, but a really beautiful building, and in a beautiful place for a memorial service. Um, the 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 president's lounge that the service was in, your you've got you know portraits of multiple presidents who've been Yale alumni, on the walls. Uh, it was a pretty incredible thing to see, and experience. But that particular sketch, just for the sketching part, is one where half of it was the building, because I was thinking about this place and kind of where he was, and he and I had been joking about that I was going to be coming up. I was going to be trying to get up there to see him while he was president. And they're doing a renovation of the exterior. He knows my love of historic preservation, and he's joking about all the things that he had to deal with as the president of the Yale Club, in sort of pseudo managing the renovation and of this building. But I didn't get to go while he was president, but I got to go, say goodbye, which was really special. But and so I left the left side blank because I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to do a portrait of him. This is one of those instances where I've described in my sketchbook, like I maybe have an idea of what I want to do. This was all very personal for me, trying to process things, and was able to do the building. And it took me many, many days to get to the point of being able to do the portrait. But I'm glad I was able to.
Yeah.
But to circle back a little bit to when and I've since made a print from the sketchbook, and given a print to the family. So I was able to do that. We've had 2 memorial services for him, one in New York and then one in Texas. I've known Sonny since we were teenagers. So
yeah.
But
so it's only a few years,
and just anyhow. Yeah, only a few years, right? But I think the one that you sort of started off with, from a kind of a really, I like the way you described Snøhetta in respect to the library, because it was, even for me, same thing. Both of us would have been in school when this competition was going on, and so it was kind of in the press, and you're sort of seeing all these things happen. And what's interesting is Snøhetta, one of the principal in charge sort of founders of the firm, is a UT alum, so a University of Texas grad, Craig Deekers, and they're a collective. They have several people, but at that time they really didn't have very much built work, if anything, of note. And they really came, with, they put everything into that competition entry. And as you say, it was, even if they didn't pick them as the winner, that competition entry would have still been a seminal moment for that architecture studio. It was really, really evident that they had a lot of stuff to give, in terms of design and sort of trajectory of things. The building was completed in 2002, in Alexandria, Egypt. I think that there's been a fair amount of architectural criticism of certain things, related to it. But it is a really remarkable building. The sketch, as Kurt, kind of walked through kind of the framing edges of it, are sort of vignettes related to the building. But as I'm prone to do, it is a mashup, right? So this is a mashup of the Alexandria Library, and in the center, a painting by Raphael, School of Athens. So, a fictional, scene where this lives in the Vatican, and this image by Raphael is of all the philosophers, all of them, and it's all the philosophers who never ever met each other. Some of them didn't even live in the same time period.
Right.
But there's this kind of moment where they're kind of all walking through, and thinking of my friend, that made a lot of sense, in terms of his love of art and architecture and travel, and it also is special because him and his wife named their only child Alexandria for a reason. And so, this is, a incredibly special thought and place and connection of different things that, as I'm thinking of family at that time, that was really, really important to try and get things out of my head and get them down on the page.
I appreciate sharing the strengthening the connections of the three sketches together for me, which I knew. They all had certain significance, but now as a triptych in a way, right? This sort of 3-panel, they have this sort of deeper or more narrative storyline to them, and it reminds me. Go ahead. Okay.
I was just going to interject is that the one I didn't say a ton about, but was the Dante sketch, which really was the first one, and there's an ironicness that I had actually shared with Sonny as he would travel, and he traveled a lot. Early on it would be kind of different kind of, snippets of conversation, but, as we got older, he would be in a place and he would go find a thing, find a place, find a museum, find a building, find an art piece and snap a picture of it. And I would just get a text and it would just say thoughts. But he hadn't necessarily done that with Dante in this particular case. He had done it with something else about Dante, but on one of his travels. But, Dante was from Florence, right? So he was, kind of a famous Florentine. But in his lifetime, he got sideways with people in Florence. And when he passed away, he had already been sort of exiled a bit from Florence. And so Florence, of course, wanted him, as sort of native son. Dante blows up. They want to make sure that everybody comes to Florence to see where Dante's tomb is and where he's buried. And people go to Florence thinking they're going to this church to where his tomb is, where he's buried. And there's a tomb there, but he's not in it. Dante's in Ravenna. And so what you're seeing on the sketch on the right is this very, very tiny little, almost Tempietto-esque tomb where he's in there. And Ravenna is known as a sort of a city of mosaics. And so there's these beautiful mosaics on the inside. It's a very, very solemn, but also celebratory kind of space. It's just sort of it's almost like an insider joke in kind of the art and architecture world, right? And those are sort of things that you share with your friends, who kind of appreciate the same things. But for my philosopher poet friend that we all thought of that way, probably his two favorites were T.S. Eliot and Dante. So it just, how could I not, do a sketch like this?
Yeah. And the concept of the death masks, right? These sort of castings are very intriguing, and intriguing is probably a worse word, but they have a very God, I don't really know how to describe it, but it's sort of a sense of like capturing the image, but also the three dimensionality, right? The sort of casting of it creates this um, ghostly, I guess, presence to it, right? A sort of semi, realistic uh, impression, right? And so not to drag it into a sense of morbidity or macabre or something like that, but just an interesting. I would look at it from a sense of like a respectful sort of casting or capture, right? Like of a time and place and a person. But without trying to get too overthink it a little too much. But yeah, the combination of all three, I really hope just by the conversation, has given you a bit chance to reflect on it and share with us, not just me, but all our listeners and watchers, the 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 mourning period that's sort of mournful segment that you're dealing with right now. So thanks for sharing that.
No, thank you for kind of letting me do it, and being patient. Kind of as I wasn't sure if I wanted to talk about it, kind of in this kind of a way, but I think I'm at a point now that it's yeah, it's okay. So, but thank you, and thanks for sort of realizing sort of the intricacies of that first sketch. I think that really helped me kind of almost remember why I did it, to a certain degree. And it's something that his close friends knew, kind of why the name, why the place was important. But as one of his art and architecture friends, who is doing this, and there was an incredible shorthand that was special, and I think that was something that all his friends felt, that sort of incredible shorthand with him, because of anybody I've ever known in my life, there's no one who's been more intelligent, but never ever made you feel less than, and was always interested in who you were, and in the moment. There would be jokes, and there would be asides, and there would be ways to kind of look back at the past and kind of enjoy those things. But yeah, it was, we thought we had more time.
Yeah. I would, and I don't want to. I know we got to wrap up here in a second, but I would just say that only having met him the one time, shared a couple beers at a New York dive bar, and yeah, everything you just said. We had just met, but it sort of felt like, I mean, with you sitting there too, just like old buds, and his interest in what others are doing, was evident, right? He was very a curious person about, not like wanting to talk about how awesome he is, but how awesome other people are around him. So, so yeah, thanks. Cheers to Sunny.
Thanks, Kurt.
Thanks, Jamie. I think people can actually see and hear me dancing to the